Hello, thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to be doing a playthrough of Sonic 3 without Sonic and Knuckles. So this is really the first half of what really is the full Sonic 3 experience. To enable that, you need to combine it with Knuckles. But I thought it'd be interesting to do a playthrough of Sonic 3. They did come out a few months apart. I think from memory Sonic 3 came out early 94, and then Sonic and Knuckles, the second part of the story, came out in October, possibly in the UK certainly. I think amongst Sonic's fans, Sonic 3 and Knuckles are probably considered the pinnacle of the series. There are a few that still prefer Sonic 2 and others that like 3D Sonic games, which is fair enough, but I think if you grew up in the 90s, you are probably going to choose this game as the best. So we've just entered one of the special stages. This is how you obtain the Chaos Emeralds. The Chaos Emeralds enable you to become Super Sonic once you've got all 7. They're fairly easy on Sonic 3 actually. When you start playing through Sonic and Knuckles, there's another set of emeralds called Super Emeralds you have to collect, and they're much more challenging, but these ones generally are fairly straightforward. You'll notice what I'm doing now is essentially going round in a square shape to turn the blue spheres into rings. This is what you need to do if you want to get a perfect on the stage. It doesn't really affect the story in any way, so it's more for points and continues. But I'll do it on the first special stage just so you can see, for those of you that don't know. But it's a good technique as well because it just makes the levels a lot easier. Like I said, these are fairly easy special stages, certainly a lot easier than the ones that you encounter on Sonic 2. It shouldn't really have any real significant problem. I occasionally make a few errors, but generally speaking they are fairly straightforward. So like I said, you want to be doing sort of a shape around the outside. Oh, as I've just messed up there, hopefully I'll be able to go back around and get that one. It should, there you go, turn them all into the rings. And this will enable you to get a perfect, which I've just done, and then you've got 4 more to get, which I do now. And there you go, that's the first Chaos Emerald. So Sonic 3 actually takes place immediately after the end of Sonic 2. At the end of Sonic 2, Sonic has beaten Robotnik or Eggman, and his Death Egg, the spaceship that he was on, has crashed onto a mysterious island called Angel Island. And Angel Island is being protected by a character called Knuckles the Echidna. Now Knuckles was that character you saw right at the beginning, when Sonic and Tails flew in on the tornado aeroplane. Sonic turned into Super Sonic, flew across the screen and then crashed into a rock. And that's the point where we meet Knuckles. He takes the Chaos Emeralds that Sonic had collected from the last game and then hides them in those special rings throughout Sonic 3. The reason he does this is Robotnik lands on the mysterious floating Angel Island before Sonic does and convinces Knuckles that Sonic is the villain and that he's after the Master Emerald. Now the Master Emerald will make sense when you play Sonic 3, is the main emerald that enables the Angel Island to float. So as we land on Angel Island, Knuckles immediately takes a disliking to us because of what Robotnik said, and that's why he attacked us at the beginning with that rock. Nothing you can do there, that just turns the zone essentially from a lovely lush green zone to one that is on fire. I just want to backtrack slightly here. There is the second special stage. You can actually obtain Super Sonic from memory on Zone 2 if you don't make any mistakes, and I remember where all the rings are. But certainly by Zone 3 you'll be obtaining Super Sonic fairly easily. I'm not going to collect all the rings on this one, I'm not really interested in getting a perfect, but obviously that's how you do it if you want to. But just keep going round, it's a bit quicker and saves going down in lines like I used to do when I first played the game. This one's generally pretty straightforward, shouldn't cause too many issues. In fact, all of them really on Sonic 3 aren't too bad. When you start going on to Sonic and Knuckles, the second part of the story, some of those are more challenging. generally speaking, these aren't too bad. It's also a good habit to do this because if you ever have to backtrack on any of the stages, you've got sort of clear run of things. There you go, this should hopefully finish. And there's the second Chaos Emerald. So already we've got 2 emeralds and we're only on the first level. As you can see, I didn't get perfect there, but I'm okay for that. So on this game you can play as, similar to Sonic 2, you can play as Sonic and Tails, which is what I've got. You can play with just Sonic, just Tails, who can fly on Sonic 3, so probably argue with the easy mode. And then if you combine it with Knuckles, Sonic and Knuckles, you can also play as Knuckles. Oh, don't know what I did there. Which is the game's hard mode. But the interesting thing about Sonic 3 is there are branching paths for Sonic and for Knuckles. I'll show you an example in a minute. So Sonic will go up there, up here. Knuckles will crash through where those rocks are, just below there. That's where Knuckles will go through. As we came to the first mini-boss, I believe Sonic 3 was possibly the first Sonic game to have mini-bosses. They're generally fairly easy, shouldn't cause too many issues. As you can see here, and there you go, first one done. So Bubble Shell, particularly useful for underwater levels. The second level, it's useful to have a Bubble Shield, but at the moment the Thunder Shield or the Fire Shield, which we just went past, is much better for this level. So I will keep this. Something to remember, if you do hit water, some of the shields will disappear. And here we go, third special stage. This is one of the easier ones, shouldn't cause too many issues. Again though, always best just to go around the outside. Again, if you want that perfect, collect all the rings. As we carry on through. It does get a little bit quicker as the level progresses. But with a bit of practice, it's fairly straightforward. Now later on in the game, you'll notice if anyone's played Sonic Origins, there are slight differences in the soundtrack. This version I'm playing is the original Sonic 3 on the Mega Drive or Genesis. I'm actually playing it through a Mega SG. So it is the original soundtrack, which I believe was superior. There was a controversy with certain tracks due to the involvement of musicians that weren't directly from Sega, namely famously Michael Jackson, but also his keyboardist Brad Buxter, I think his name is. As we get further through the game and we encounter those levels with those soundtracks, I'll point out why they were controversial and got removed. But for the first few levels, the soundtrack is the same as what you'd experience on the Sonic Origins collection. As you can see, the shield disappeared as I hit water. The only shield you can keep in the water is this bubble shield now, which I've got. It's also useful because you can bounce and it protects you underwater. Just be careful not to hit those spikes, otherwise you lose it. So Sonic 2 was actually made by a joint American and Japanese team that were based in America, and Sega decided for this game that they would go back to an all-Japanese development team just to avoid any sort of cultural issues or disagreements. But it was once again led by Yuji Naka, who's the creator of Sonic. Because what happened after Sonic 1 is there were a team of people that had made Sonic CD, and then a separate team in the US that made Sonic 2. But during the making of Sonic 3 and Knuckles, they decided to just bring everyone from Japan to make the game. Saying that, Sonic 2 is also a very good game and is in fact the favourite of some fans. Not me personally, but there are those that will argue the level design is a little bit more conducive to speed, which is obviously what Sonic is famous for. But I think, as an overall game, Sonic 3 is better. So already, only on the second level, and there's 4 emeralds, only 3 more to go to achieve Super Sonic. Careful these platforms, they do disappear. Again though, most of Sonic 3 is fairly easy, it shouldn't really cause too many problems. The final act, launch base zone, can be tricky in parts, and the last boss can be a bit annoying. Essentially it's 3 bosses in one. Jump in here, get to the special stages. We'll do one of them now. It's actually like a gumball machine. And we'll carry on. So we're at the last boss now. Nice bit of parallax scrolling in a minute. With this you just push right, you don't need to do anything else. It's a good idea to get the fire shield for this, because one of Robotnik's main moves is the fireball. It protects you to a degree. You just stand here, you can usually get hit in before he gets through the bridge. And if you just sort of stand under here, often Tails will get a few hits in for you if he doesn't decide to do that. And you don't want to be doing that. Yeah, don't do that. Not the best idea. Right, let's try this again. Obviously this time I don't have the fire shield, so I am more vulnerable. There you go, there's one here. Should be able to get in this time, hopefully. There you go. That's how easy it is. I don't know what happened the first time. So we hit this, and then we'll encounter Knuckles for the second time. So Knuckles will, in a minute, destroy this bridge, and he'll send us into Hydro City, or Hydrocity, however you want to say it, which is supposedly a dam from the Kinder Age. Fairly easy level again, and not too annoying for a water level. Water levels in Sonic can be really irritating, especially the one that springs to mind is Labyrinth Zone in the first Sonic game. Just be mindful that you can run out of oxygen, so it's always best to stop at these bubbles and get a little bit when you can. Now I've got a bubble, why not keep it and don't lose it straight away on one of these? Should be okay for air anyway. That time of there is for Tails. Now, if you go over here, I believe. Over here we go. Here's the next special stage. So again, same technique. You just want to be going around the outside. Collect the rings if you want. Perfect. And it really is as simple as that. Only 13 to go. The hardest thing on some of the levels is just finding where the ones that you've missed are, so I'm going to assume it's going to be down one of the sides that I've missed. Obviously as it gets faster it does get more challenging. Just go down here. There you go. And then there's just 4 somewhere. And here they are. Just be careful not to get bounced back. And there it is. Number 5, only 2 to go. You can avoid a lot of the underwater parts, but because I wanted to get that, special ring, I've had to unfortunately go for it. I have actually missed a ring location. It was back there, unfortunately I can't go back now. As we enter the first boss of the zone, Again, fairly straightforward, you just want to be jumping over his head as he comes round. And then as the rockets stop, getting in as many hits as you can. There you go. Easy as that. The screen's moving now, just need to keep going. Don't do that. Sometimes there's a life there on certain versions. As long as you don't panic though, it's not particularly hard. We just keep going. And that's the end of it. You want to try and go over to the side if you can. Some coins there. And then jump over here. The next time we do that, there will be a special stage to the left, which isn't too hard to get. Nope. Should be on this one, I think, if I remember correctly. No, not quite. Here we go, this is it. And here we go, next one. This one again isn't too bad. It can get tricky towards the end if your path hasn't been perfect through it. But if you sort of stick to the technique of going around the outside, certainly these middle bits aren't too bad. Again, remember to get the rings if you want that perfect. Unless I'm making stupid mistakes like I did on Angel Island, I don't tend to die very often. It's often if there's a bit of a cheap death with a pit or something crushing me. But if you feel like you need to get the continues to help you through it, then of course getting the rings is a good option. And there you go. That's number 6. As you can see, with the right technique, it's fairly easy. you drop back down here and just use that to spin you up. It does make it a lot easier. All you have to do is I'm doing now. Be careful not to get squashed here. You need to be a little bit patient, do it. Get quite a few little cheap deaths there if you're not careful. Yeah, in this case, taking your time, not rushing, like that. This isn't a speed run by any means. I can go quicker than this. And if I time this right, I should now be able to get to the next special stage with a bit of luck. No, not quite, so we need to go up there. So if I hit this, and then I've got to go back down now, unfortunately. Back through here. And I need to land on that, which will take me to the right, I'll try one more time. This isn't going well. I'm probably making this look a lot harder than it is. It's not usually this hard. Let's try again. And there you go. And that's the last one. Now this is fairly difficult, just because the layout of the area is quite weird compared to the others. There's really a set path you have to go through, and if you kind of deviate off that, you end up doing like these really awkward jumps. One thing best to remember though is if you, where you can, go round in that square shape, it will make the zone a little bit, the zone will make the special stage a little bit easier. So for example, this one, you want to be going just because it opens up a section there if you ever need to fight your way back through, rather than kind of going through them by line again. See, I've done that there. There you go with these. Again with that one. As you can see now, this is what I was talking about. You've got to kind of find the ones that I've missed because I haven't gone through it in a perfect way. I've missed certain ones. Here you go. And because I didn't go around the outside of that one, if you notice, they didn't turn to coins. And that's what I was saying. So now I've got to try and find another way around rather than kind of jumping over, which I think I'm going to do. And there you go. Not the easiest one, but as you can see, they're certainly doable. So now I've got all the emeralds and I'm only on zone 2. So then this will enable me to become supersonic once I've got those 50 rings. Now, in my opinion, supersonic ruins the game. It breaks the game, makes it too easy. But for the purpose of this playthrough, I thought it'd be interesting to do it. I can't do it anyway because I've only got 38 rings. You need 50. I might not be able to get to the rings before the end of the level. No, here's the end of the level. So I'm going to have to do the boss without, which would be more interesting anyway. So I can demonstrate the correct technique. So it does make this easier if you have got the bubble shield. Hopefully I don't lose it. So Robotnik will come down in this device. Now, what I can do, because I've got the bubble shield, is I can bounce. Just got to be careful of that blade. I'm not going to go now. So he'll call like a whirlpool, which will suck you in. Just keep jumping, fairly easy. Now you've got a couple of ways of taking him out. You could either jump on that whirlpool, but because I've got the bubble shield, I can just jump up like this. But what you want to do, I'll just show you if you haven't got the bubble shield, is you want to jump on these, like Tails just did there. I'll show you on here. Like this. So you want to jump on here, that'll blast you up, and then you can land on his head like that, as I failed miserably to do. And there you go, simple as that, it's not difficult, even without supersonic. And then we go to the ancient ruins of Marble Garden next. Not my favourite level, a bit weird. Kind of a bit confusing, a bit all over the place. Interesting boss fight at the end. There are loads of rings on this level. I'll try and show you some of them, even though I don't need them anymore. When I go through a special stage ring, it will automatically give me 50 rings. So if I can, you want to go up here. This should, yeah, here you go. This should give me the lightning shield, which is quite useful to get into the section that I need in a minute. I'm going to try and get up here. It will take me to the first special ring location. I don't make any silly mistakes. There's the first one. Those can kill you pretty much instantly, so be careful. That's what I was talking about before with cheap deaths. Trapped under one of them, you die. As you can see there, I've transformed into supersonic. I can now jump probably easily twice as high, if not even higher. Essentially indestructible. I have missed a couple of the special stage rings, unfortunately. There is one in there though. And as you can see, I've now got 158. Rings. I'll start going a bit quicker now, as I don't need any more of the special rings. Can be quite awkward to control, he's just so fast. Like that. Cut across here. If you just drop this down, it will go a bit quicker. Shouldn't have lost that there, so it means now I've got to go a different way, which is fine when you've got Supersonic. It's fairly easy and doesn't really cause many issues. And already at the first boss. Now usually you want to avoid those coming down, and obviously you avoid the spikes, but in this Supersonic form I'm pretty much indestructible, so that doesn't matter. And that is Act 1 done. Fairly easy Supersonic, sorry. Gets a little bit more difficult if you haven't. Definitely worth playing through without Supersonic. Can definitely de-skill you as well if you play Supersonic all the time. This is our first encounter now with Robotnik. As I said before, it's an interesting boss fight because it involves using tails as well, which is a bit unique. No, can't quite get up there. Now there's a special stage down here if I remember correctly. There you go. So I could now change it to Supersonic. In fact I will. Oh no. I can't when I've got this. Silly me. Now we can transform and pretty much power through the level, providing I don't get squashed, which is always a possibility on Marble Garden. Not sure what Tails is doing there. I think one of the bad things about Supersonic is you are literally stuck listening to that horrendous invincibility music rather than the music from the stages, which is often very, very good. But let's transform back. Lightning Shield's probably best for this level, so I'll try and aim for one of those. I'll get that. Oh, try to get the coins there in that grey one. Don't really need a 1-up, but we'll get it. And then this is the second encounter with Robotnik. Don't need to hit him, can do if you want, makes no difference. ground starts to move, earthquake, and then if you look closely, the ceiling is starting to come down. Be careful those pits. If you're going to die, it's going to be off there. Once you get to this bit, you're fine. There's the checkpoint. We'll do another special stage. Try and get something a bit better. I think I'm destined just to get bubble shields. Fire shields a bit better. Oh, there you go. That's what I want. Oh, missed it. Now you've got to be careful here. Robotnik will come down, and I have died here before, even though I'm supersonic. Try and get as many hits in as you can. And this was that interesting boss I was saying. Now, if you were doing this properly without supersonic, you've got Tails, you actually control Tails, and the idea being is you go above him and then you jump on his head like that, but obviously I've already beaten him with supersonic. That's what I was saying about supersonic breaking the game. They just fly up and then you're done. And then we're about to enter Carnival Night Zone, which is the first bit of music that was changed when they did the subsequent re-releases, dating as early back as the mid-90s with the PC release. And this is because it's pretty much been proved now, although I don't know why it was ever in doubt, that Michael Jackson was involved to a degree in the making of the music for Sonic 3. And for whatever reason, depending on which story you believe, he either decided that the quality of the sound wasn't good enough and he didn't want his name attached to the project, or because of the controversy that happened around the time with his child molestation accusations, they decided to not credit him. It's difficult to know which version is correct, but either way. Now I'm going to purposely not transform into supersonic. Now the music on this level, although it's not necessarily that easy to spot, is actually the song Jam by Michael Jackson that was released on the Dangerous album. Now the musician I was telling you earlier, Brian Buxer, who was a touring musician with Michael Jackson, actually toured with him during the Dangerous tour, which is what Jam is actually on. So it's no coincidence really that they decided to use Jam as a piece of music. Obviously it has been changed quite a bit, but you can still hear it. I'll actually recommend, if you just put in YouTube Sonic 3 music Michael Jackson, it will actually play the two tracks side to side, and I think when you actually hear them, it is quite obvious that this is heavily sampling Jam. But anyway, I'll transform back just so I can get through the level a bit quicker. Yeah, so obviously that was changed, unfortunately. Although it's not my favourite piece of music, we'll hear a couple of tracks that were also removed later on in the game, which I think are far superior to another special stage there, which I think are far superior to Carnival Night. But yeah, that was the first one that got removed. I think Sega probably just decided they didn't want to pay the fee to the Jackson estate, so on Sonic Origins it was the PC music, I believe, from that release that was used. And which is a shame, because I do think this music is definitely superior in most ways. Again, with a lot of levels on Sonic 3, there are lots of ways you can traverse the levels. Now, we're going to see the barrels actually in a minute. The barrels were very controversial at the time of release, and most people that know Sonic 3 have got to be careful of that, because that can actually kill you. The Barrel of Death, as it was called. When we get to that bit, I'll talk about it a little bit, but for frustrated a lot of gamers back in the day. I'm already at the first boss. Bit of a weird one, this one, so you don't hit it directly, you hit it, so I'm assuming creates some sort of magnetic field which then sucks it back. The only thing you've got to be careful if you're supersonic on some of these bosses is you can get crushed underneath that thing, even though you should be invincible. You're not. It's not impossible to die. We can just keep hitting it, and there you go, already defeated. And then we'll encounter Knuckles again for the first time since Hydrocity or Hydro City. When he turns the lights out, and the first part of the level is we've got to try and turn the lights back on again. See Knuckles shortly. Worst part about this level is these underwater sections. You can get crushed quite easily. Make a silly mistake. Like there, potentially could have got crushed. If you're playing as Tails, you can actually fly, or swim I should say, which makes it a lot easier. So I almost died there. Almost ran out of oxygen. You've got to try and be in time with Tails there, otherwise it can be really frustrating if you jump at different times. This shouldn't be this hard, it's because Tails is pulling it down as well. I think with the exception of probably the boss fights, it's actually more of a hindrance having Tails, I would say. You can drop down there, and you can see there was a special stage which I've missed. I'm not going to try and get that. It is a lot easier than I made it look. Unfortunately now though, because of that, I've got to go and do this stupid bit again, which is a bit annoying, but hey ho, what can you do? Careful not to get crushed. Back up here again. Up there. I won't get that. Well, can be a bit annoying, this level in parts. Back to this bit, as you can see, this time without Tails, it's considerably easier. And then jump on here, blast your way up, job's a good one. Balloons are a good way of traversing the level. Be careful those robots, when they explode they release lightning. I'm purposely not constantly transforming into supersonic just because I think it makes the game more interesting to watch when you're not pelted through at 100 miles an hour. Here's Knuckles. You don't actually, unfortunately, fight Knuckles in Sonic 3. You do if you attach Sonic and Knuckles and play the complete game. You fight him towards the end. It's a bit of a disappointing fight, but fun nonetheless. Just use that spring up there, useful to get this, just because it stops you from needing any of the air bubbles. Careful not to get crushed here. Can be a bit annoying, these bits, especially these robots, because as they explode, they... Luckily the water comes down now and we're okay. Any minute now, there you go. Just take your time here. If you rush, you'll get stuck here, which can be a bit annoying. It's close. And the switch is just here, which will turn the lights back on. And then you can just carry on here. And this was the bit I was telling you about. Now, most people got stuck on this back in the day because they didn't realise if you press up and down on the barrel, it moves it up and down. So they get stuck in this section for hours, if not days and weeks on end, not realising it was as simple as that. Luckily, I had a friend who had already got the game before me, or had played the game before me, so I knew what I was doing. But a lot of people got frustrated there. It really is as simple as that. Fairly, again, easy with Supersonic. What you would do with that is he drops the ball, sucks you back in again, similar to the Whirlpool one, and then you have to sort of get him as he's coming down, jumping on his head. Right, we now enter the next piece of controversial music. But this time, no involvement from Michael Jackson. As we enter Ice Cap. So, this is my favourite piece of music from Sonic 3. I think for a lot of people, I think this is the best piece of music on Sonic 3. It's quite a cool level as well, to be fair. Obviously starts off with this. You can jump, but essentially you're watching a cutscene, albeit a 16-bit one. So yeah, this piece of music is... Remember the man I mentioned earlier, Brad Buxter? He was a member of a band called the Jetsons, and this at the time was an unreleased track from the Jetsons called Hard Times. Again, I would encourage you to sort of put it on YouTube and listen to it. Really quite catchy track, and this was used. He obviously decided to use this unreleased track. I don't know whether he just thought it fit the level or whether it saved him time, but because of its inclusion on Sonic 3, it's become known as arguably their most well-known track. But no involvement with Michael Jackson on this one. Just almost got trapped there. Just his touring keyboard player, Brad Buxer. So I'm just going to transform to Supersonic. Apologies for those that were enjoying listening to that piece of music. Hopefully you'll get another chance in a bit. But just to make a bit of progress, get the runtime down. I'm just going to do a little bit with that really annoying music. I wish there was a way you could keep the normal music playing. Now if you played the Sonic Origins version, the music is okay, but nowhere near as iconic as Hard Times. I just wish Sega had decided to pay for the license really and included it on the game. But Sega deemed it obviously not worthwhile for them to do. But at least we got a re-release. I would imagine most people who probably watch this video are very familiar with Sonic 3, but hopefully the odd one or two that perhaps aren't hopefully they found this video somewhat useful or interesting in terms of some of the strategies that I've used. Like I said, it's not particularly a hard game, especially if you're doing what I'm doing now, which is to use Supersonic, and like I've said multiple times, I sound like a broken record, but it really is worth playing through, either purposely not using Supersonic. Like for example this boss, I can just keep attacking him because of Supersonic, but what you'd actually have to do, I'll just show you, is you'd wait for an opportunity. It's still fairly easy, so you could hit him there as it went up, or you'd hit him here, and then what happens is they'll start falling from the sky and you'd have to avoid those, but again I'll move through it. And that's already Act 1. A good way through, probably 75% through the game already. I think an average, decent enough player can probably get this game done in about an hour, give or take. Maybe a little bit more. I think probably in this playthrough it'll probably take me a little bit more. I mean, I've so far luckily only died once in that really random of places. Generally I don't find this game that hard, with the exception of certain parts of the last zone can be a little bit awkward, especially right at the very end with the 3 bosses. But we'll see how we get on with it. Can be a few little water sections here. But Sonic 3, similar to Sonic 2, it will reward good play, so you can actually avoid a lot of the lower parts if you know which route to go. Especially if you've got Tails, like I said before, he probably is the easy mode. Tails does have his own sort of super mode, where he has birds flying around the outside of him. Obviously those, don't need me to explain, those TV screens are bad, don't hit them. Just want to work your way over here. Oh, did mean to do that. But oh well. Supersonic can be a little bit difficult to control on some of the platforming elements, but I just prefer listening to the music of the game rather than this constant repetitive track. We're almost at the end of the level now, to be fair. Got to be careful not to get crushed on any of these things. They are instant deaths, even as Supersonic, and we're at the last boss now, so not the last boss of the level. But this will actually freeze you. I don't think it does a Supersonic from memory. Maybe you'll see from Tails getting frozen. Yeah, there you go. You can't help each other out like I've done there, otherwise you will lose your coins. But again, as usual, with Supersonic, too easy really. Now this one is arguably, it's definitely the hardest level, but this is arguably the most controversial track because if you listen carefully, although the quality's not great, you can actually hear Michael Jackson's voice in this track. You hear him saying go go go. If you're short of rings though, you can just, not do that, you can just come down here. Now I won't transform yet. Again, if you YouTube this, there is a person who's put a video which compares the Michael Jackson track that this is using to the actual original. It's not that easy to hear, but it's actually the track Bad from the 1987 album, I believe, Bad. And obviously, if you're listening carefully, you probably did hear a sample of Michael Jackson's voice. Apologies for transforming to supersonic, but I'm sure I'll probably die on this level once, so we should probably get a chance to hear that track again. Get that shield. Even supersonic, it will still trap the rings to you, as you can see there. Part 1 of this isn't too hard. Part 2 is a little bit trickier. Act 2, I should say, sorry, is a little bit trickier. I believe, actually, there might be, if I remember correctly, a special ring up here. I could be wrong, let's have a look. No, I might be wrong. Yeah, I'm not. Certainly close by. I might have gone past it. Haven't played this game for a couple of years, I'd say, at this point. Although I did do a quick run through of Sonic Origins, actually, but I have completed it multiple times, so I don't really have an excuse. Don't want to get that. Can't remember what's down there, nothing. These are quite long levels. Oh, should have got that. Now, annoyingly, I'm going to have to face the boss without supersonic, but that's fine. We encounter Knuckles here, I believe. Yeah, here he is. He throws a bomb, which causes the tower to collapse. So, in case you haven't figured out, this is Launch Phase Zone, which is obviously Dr. Robotnik's attempt to relaunch the Death Egg. Which, if I manage to complete this game, you'll see being crashing down again. Here we go. This is a lot harder without as I've already messed up. The idea is to try and avoid that hand, but not particularly difficult even without supersonic. You can hit that. And now we're on the last level. This can be quite tricky in parts. Generally, you want to be getting to the end with a decent amount of rings and not doing stupid things like that, but if you're not careful, you can also run out of time on this level. It just takes quite a long time to clear. I'm obviously not playing great at the moment. Apologies for that. Again, you can hear Michael Jackson's voice sample in the back saying go. Try not to get hit now, so I don't lose my 47 rings. Ideally, you want to try and save Supersonic for the... Oh, be careful of that. You do need to go in there, but because I've got Supersonic, makes it a bit easier, but you can just run up like I did then and you won't land on it. You don't want to do the spin dash though, because you'll get taken out. Didn't really want to transform to Supersonic there. In an ideal world, you want to try and keep Supersonic for the last boss. The very, very last boss can be a bit annoying, and Supersonic just makes it a lot easier. Right near the end now. Oh, that's exactly what I didn't want to happen. Ideally, keeping that shield in better, especially with no rings. I've now got to do the last boss without any Supersonic, which is fine, but it is a lot harder. You want to try and get up there if you can. There you go. that's the first part. That's the easiest one. We now encounter Knuckles for the last time in Sonic 3, just as the Death Egg is being launched by the rocket. It causes an earthquake, and he gets knocked off. First part isn't too bad. Just about being patient. Obviously with Super Sonic it's a doddle. But you'll notice there's no tails, I don't think. I can't remember whether he lands now. I should know, the amount of times I've played it. And you want to just avoid that thing. You usually get about 3 hits in. I've done too many there. It's going to get me. See, you've got to just be careful with that. I did too many there. You don't want to get trapped there. Should have him this time. There you go. That's a bit of a mini boss, and then we encounter the final boss now. Metal Arms or something it's called. Now if you're playing Sonic 3 and Sonic & Knuckles, this boss doesn't appear. So the safest way to hit him is when he's like this, and you want to hit him there. He usually does this twice. The danger is you can get caught in his hands. Now there are other times you can hit him. From memory I also believe you can hit him when he comes possibly even here. I can't remember, let's try. No, definitely not there. Try, if you lose the ring, just obviously try your best to get it back. It's a lot harder if you have to be one hit it in. You can imagine with Super Sonic though how easy this is. There you go, that's what I was telling you. So he'll come down and slam me down, and it's quite hard to get to your ring. No, I did do it there. And there you go. It's just all about timing. It can be a bit awkward to get the hits in, but generally you're patient and just get the arc just right. Almost done it now. I think he probably needs maybe 2 more hits. I tend to stay like this here, though every now and then he'll throw you off and he'll go in a place you don't want him to go. Oh, I got lucky there. There you go, and that's it. That's Sonic 3. Ironically, I died on the first level and then didn't die again. Now, if you look in the background, you'll see the Death Egg crashing down to Earth after it's failed to launch there. Just there in the background, the face of Robotnik. And then because I've got all the emeralds, that is now considered complete. If you didn't have all the emeralds, it would be Sonic appearing there, not in his super form. And then I think this is probably the most obvious evidence that Michael Jackson was involved. This is pretty much a complete cover of Stranger in Moscow. If you listen to this and then listen to Stranger in Moscow, you'll clearly see that the two are very, very similar. Stranger in Moscow, I believe, was released from the History album, which may have come out after this game. I think History from memory came out in 95. This game was released in 94. So a lot of people may have heard Stranger in Moscow, or a version of it, for the first time as the credits for Sonic 3. Now obviously if we had Knuckles attached, the game wouldn't end there, it would go straight into Sonic and Knuckles. Story being that the Death Egg crashes again and then we start off in the Mushroom Kingdom. Play through more levels and then eventually you do defeat Robotnik once and for all. Well, once and for all in the Sonic 3 and Knuckles universe. I may do a playthrough of Sonic 3 and Knuckles at some point. It is the complete experience and it is the best way to play it, but I thought it'd be nice just to do a playthrough. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that was slightly interesting. I know there's a lot of playthroughs of Sonic 3 on YouTube already. And I've contemplated doing one with or without commentary. I realise it's not been the most in-depth commentary, but I thought it'd be nice to share some of my thoughts and some info about the game. Hope people have found that somewhat interesting. Like and subscribe if you want more. I'll probably do some more Sonic videos in the coming weeks. Take care and hope to see you all again soon.